So, first of all, I haven't played Codename 47.
Wow!
I know that's a terrible way to start the video, but it's fine. I've played literally every other mainline entry. So I don't intend to play Codename 47. I think I'd actually drive myself insane. Hitman 2 Silent Assassin is worthy of a C tier, in my opinion. The game is just so frustratingly dated by modern standards, just makes it not very enjoyable to play, from my experience. The AI is extremely sensitive and the controls overall are quite clunky. There's also missions such as Hidden Valley where you spend a majority of the mission just running around in the snow, hoping and praying you don't get spotted by the snipers in the guard towers simply because the game chooses to be bullshit. Missions like that are just unnecessary when 2 or 3 missions set in the same location could have been condensed to form a more consistent and overall better level. I made a video on Hitman 2 Silent Assassin pretty recently if you haven't checked it out already. I mean, the game is from 2002, so I'm trying to be as generous as I can. There's some genuinely good missions in this game such as basement killing and invitation to a party. It's just a shame that they're held back by the pretty clunky mechanics and the limitations of the time. Still, this was only IO's second go at a Hitman game, so it's understandable that it would take them some time to really master it like they did with the new trilogy. However, when I bought Silent Assassin, I got it in a bundle with Hitman contracts. I know there are people who prefer this game over Blood Money, especially in terms of the more dark and gritty setting of the game when compared to some of the stupid shit you could get up to in Blood Money. Whilst I do like the darker aesthetic and think it fits Hitman quite well, in terms of gameplay, it just can't compare to Blood Money. Can you tell I like Blood Money? Despite the gameplay being a massive step up from Silent Assassin, Contracts still has some issues I had from that game, such as the limited saves and how sedatives are only temporary. The whole temporary sedative thing from both Contracts and Silent Assassin just resulted in me killing a person who I'd normally sedate, not really caring too much about getting that Silent Assassin rating. If the game is gonna be bullshit about things like that to the point where it becomes annoying to achieve such a rating, of course I'm just gonna kill people. As I mentioned, I haven't played Codename 47, and likely never will, so it was nice to see some of the missions from the very first game in the franchise being remade in Contracts and see how much they improved in such a small time gap of 4 years. It is clear that IO was beginning to master the premise of Hitman, and they got so very close to that here. For that, I will give it a very generous B tier. However, when Contracts was released, the Contracts dev team would then join the rest of the team to create their next game that would forever change the course of Hitman. Hitman Blood Money took all that was wrong with the previous 3 entries and threw them out the window. Blood Money just refined what the previous games brought to the table and delivered some of the most memorable maps to ever grace the franchise. Even though I have some issues with certain levels and that the game is still a little clunky, they're really just minor flaws in an amazing game. I do not recommend playing on expert difficulty though. I nearly lost my mind in the process, especially when I got to death on the Mississippi. Seriously, fuck that mission. Check out my Blood Money tier list while you're at it if you haven't already. Blood Money also holds up surprisingly well. To be fair, the version I played is actually the HD remaster, so naturally it will look and run a good bit better, but still. In conclusion, I quite like this game. However, and call me blasphemous, but I'm going to give it an A tier, because there is one game that I like better, which I'll get to very soon. Now for Absolution. After the disaster that was Absolution, IO decided to start up a new trilogy with a soft reboot of the franchise, starting with Hitman 2016. It took a lot of gameplay mechanics from Absolution that actually worked and reinvented ones that didn't, such as Instinct, and delivered a solid game that was a true successor to the heights of Blood Money. Although, I must admit, some of the maps were not my favorite. Paris, Sapienza and Hokkaido, all great maps, some of the best in the whole series, but the other 3 main maps just can't really compare, unfortunately. I mean, is anyone's favorite map from 2016 actually something like Marrakesh? Let me know in the comments. I guess, a very solid game, but one that would be vastly improved upon in its sequel. B tier. Now, Hitman 2, what a game, and a game I hold very near and dear to my cold, dead heart. Allow me to regale you with a story, dear viewer. I first got Hitman 2 at the start of 2020 and, if you remember, something very funny happened in 2020. Before that happened, however, I played through Hitman 2's levels once, much like the first game, and then never touched it again. However, once the funny thing happened, I decided to give it another shot, and I also carried over the levels from 2016. Sooner or later, I became completely addicted to the game, completing all the challenges, leveling up the mastery, going on a murderous rampage as a fucking flamingo. I eventually also got the DLC that gave you New York and Haven Island, two excellent maps that just made me love this game even more. After playing more of this game, I really just became the Danny DeVito meme.
Oh my god. I get it.
The maps were more enjoyable to me than 2016, aside from a couple. See my Hitman 2 tier list for more if you haven't already. Aside from that though, Hitman 2 topped 2016 in almost every way imaginable, and I can't exactly blame past me for getting hooked on the franchise with this game. I am very well aware that I am incredibly biased in this rating, but fuck it. S tier. Hitman 3 was the first game I've ever pre-ordered. Usually, I'd be against that sort of thing, especially ever since the incident that occurred the month before Hitman 3 released, but I was too addicted to the franchise to the point where I just couldn't resist. I already knew that Hitman 3 would basically just be the same thing as Hitman 2, but with some slight tweaks and with new maps, and I was perfectly fine with that. Hitman 3 delivered what I loved so dearly from Hitman 2 and also provided a satisfying conclusion to the trilogy. I was considering giving this game a B tier, especially because of interesting DLC missions that were sold at a ridiculously high price at the time, but I can't do that to my boy. Hitman 3 delivered the ultimate Hitman experience in my opinion, so it's at least worthy of an A tier. Now, since the beginning of this year, Hitman 3 has been renamed Hitman, World of Assassination, now including the missions from Hitman and Hitman 2. Since the whole idea of this trilogy was for it to become one big mega Hitman game, there is no doubt that Hitman, World of Assassination is an S tier. I could have just rated World of Assassination, but I thought I may as well rate each entry of the trilogy separately as well, so here we are. And there you have it. There's my official ranking of all the mainline Hitman games. Except for Codename 47, I guess. Let me know your personal rankings in the comments, and let me know where you put Codename 47 in a tier list. Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. Maybe also subscribe and hit the wee bell if you haven't already. It's free to do so, and you can always change your mind later. Have a good one.